The Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt says preliminary results from the referendum on a new constitution show a significant majority backing the controversial draft law. In the second round on Saturday, more than 70% of the votes were in favour, but turnout was just over 30%. The main Egyptian opposition party, the National Salvation Front, does not dispute those figures, but has complained of irregularities during the voting.
After a month of sporadic violence, calm, as voters in Giza patiently wait to have their say on the proposed new constitution for Egypt's future. This is the second and final tranche of voting, with 25 million Egyptians eligible to choose at the ballot box this time round. Opponents of the draft constitution say it caters only for the Islamists in the country and will erode the rights of women, minority groups and free speech.
The second and final round of voting took place on Saturday in the provinces, including the central city of Giza and the southern city of Luxor. Local media report a majority voted yes in many districts, mainly in rural areas with Islamist supporters. They also report that about 57% of voters approved the constitution in the first round, held mainly in urban areas, including the capital, Cairo. Supporters and opponents of President Mohamed Morsi have had fatal clashes over the new constitution. People in youth groups and opposition parties say the draft charter is too Islamic. Official results will be announced as early as Monday, but some opponents are complaining that irregularities took place during the vote.
They're expected to hold a press conference later today, and what they fear is that the official results will be published before the investigation into the many claims of violations is actually closed. Yesterday they were sending out regular updates with the latest reports on violations on the ground. They say, for instance, many polling stations open late, sometimes by nearly 3 hours. They had reports of members of the Muslim Brotherhood acting as monitors inside polling stations, and they're really not happy with the way it was all organized, especially in terms of logistics. A good example of that is in Fayoum, about 100 kilometers southwest of Cairo. There were 2 polling stations for about 130,000 registered voters. Now, the Freedom and Justice Party, the Muslim Brotherhood political branch, said this referendum would bring all political forces together, and of course they're now looking towards the next parliamentary elections, which are set to take place in roughly 2 months.
The vote in Egypt for the country's disputed constitution is over. Although official results have yet to be announced, all indications are that voters have approved this constitution that has divided this country. This vote, of course, was divided into 2 days. The first round took place last Saturday. That's when 57% of voters said yes to the Constitution. Observers said going into this Saturday, there was little chance for the no voters to make a comeback because the 17 remaining provinces that voted were mostly viewed as supporters of the president and Islamist factions. Despite what appears to be the approval of this constitution, critics of the president are continuing to say, look at the country, look how fractured and divided it is because of the way this constitution was drafted and voted on. And don't look for opposition factions in Egypt to go away. They're still bitter, entrenched. Many claim that the Muslim Brotherhood and the president have hijacked the 2011 revolution. They're going to continue to fight. And remember, 2 months from now, you have the parliamentary elections. Look for these two sides to continue to grapple for political power and leverage in the weeks to come. However, for now, it looks like the president and his supporters are feeling good because it appears the Constitution will be approved. Look for the president to tout this as a major achievement in Egypt's transition to democracy.
Well, as the vote took place, Egypt's vice president announced his resignation. Mahmoud Meki said he'd come to realise that politics doesn't suit him. The career judge says he made the decision last month but was persuaded to stay on until the referendum. The new constitution would eliminate the post of vice president.